So there is a massive but healthy debate going on right now in MAGA world over which course of action Donald Trump should take regarding Iran. And the left, desperate for any kind of vitality, of course, have seized on this debate, calling it another MAGA Civil War. Because on the left, only one kind of thinking is permissible, and if you stray even slightly from the party lines, you're exiled expeditiously. And unfortunately, some in MAGA world seem to have succumbed to this kind of thinking, and are starting to point fingers and label some not America first because they have a different opinion. But I'm here to remind everybody that this healthy discourse is a strength. It's good. It's what allows the MAGA movement to be so widespread and popular. And we should appreciate and embrace this reality so we don't fall into the same trap as the left, where only one way of thinking is acceptable. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but I want to start by showing you something that inspired me to make this video in the first place. So what you're looking at right now is a graphic that shows the diversity of thought on each side of the political spectrum. As you can see, the blue, which represents the Democrats, is extremely small and clustered together, representing a very minimal divergence of thoughts and viewpoints. While on the right, it is vast and diverse. And this graphic is so beautiful, it's so positive, and it really nails home why Donald Trump's movement was so popular amongst so many different types of people. So many ex-Democrats left the party, supported and voted for Donald Trump, and this graphic is a representation of that. The left's ideology is totalitarian. One of their primary tenets is you must disregard biological reality and accept at the altar of wokeness that a man can become a woman. So once you exit the confines of reality and accept that premise, you must subsequently accept every position after that, with no question, with no explanation, with no ability for discourse, because you've already accepted the most wild, delusional premise as truth. Conversely, on the right, we deal in reality. And when you deal in reality, you understand that people are going to have a difference of opinion. We had arguments over H-1B visas. We have disagreements on deportations. Should we get rid of everybody? Should we be a little bit more selective? We have disagreements on the big, beautiful bill. Is it good the way it is? Does it need more cuts? And now we're having a disagreement on an extremely consequential decision, which is, should we get militarily involved in the Iran-Israel conflict to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon? This healthy disagreement is the strength of MAGA. This is what will allow it to continue to be a widespread populist movement. We can't fall into the trap of the left, where you have to have a certain specific set of beliefs in which we attack anybody who disagrees with us and label them as not being America first. In this video, I'm going to show you tons of information as to why this decision on whether we should strike Iran is extremely complicated. And each side, the side that thinks we should do it and the side that thinks we shouldn't do it, both have merit. But by the end of this video, I want you to be secure in knowing that Donald Trump, the person we elected, because we trust his judgment in high pressure, high stakes moments like this, will make the decision he truly thinks is best. Here's a clip from Tucker Carlson interviewing Ted Cruz that sparked this whole MAGA Civil War conversation.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because,
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims, know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
Now, in this interview, both men make compelling arguments. Tucker for why we should not get involved, Ted Cruz for why we ought to get involved. But the problem that sparked this whole controversy was Tucker has a snarky and condescending way about him, to where Ted Cruz couldn't answer specific questions that, in my opinion, are irrelevant to the decision, but from Tucker's perspective are important to him because he wants to genuinely make sure that the people encouraging this decision have thought this all the way through. If we use the bunker busters and it doesn't go perfectly, then what? If we orchestrate a regime change and it doesn't go how we planned, then what? What we're seeing here is a perfect illustration of the moments that we elected Donald Trump for, where each decision has pros and cons, but a decision must be made. And not making a decision is also a big decision. And whatever Donald Trump decides is the best course of action, there is one thing everybody has to admit. He thought this through, and he did everything humanly possible within his power to avoid military conflict. Let's hear from the man himself.
20 years ago, you were skeptical of a Republican administration that attacked a Middle East country on the idea of questionable intelligence of weapons of mass destruction. How is this moment different with Iran?
Well, there were no weapons of mass destruction. I never thought there were. And that was somewhat pre-nuclear. You know, there was a nuclear age, but nothing like it is today. And it looked like I'm right about the material that they've gathered already. It's a tremendous amount of material. And I think within a matter of weeks, or certainly within a matter of months, they're going to be able to have a nuclear weapon. We can't let that happen.
Now, again, what we should be so proud about with our diverging viewpoints on the right is they encompass all possible scenarios. Either you're for war or you're against war. And those are the only possible two scenarios, even for Democrats. There has to be room in our party for both sets of opinions. And Democrats have been more or less silent on us getting involved in this conflict because they don't know which side to pick until Trump decides and they can pick the opposite side. And there will inevitably be some Democrats who agree with whatever Trump decides to do. And if that ends up being the opposite of what the Democrats support, it's going to cause more Democrats to leave the party and come join the MAGA movement. And we have to be open and accepting to people who may agree with us on some things and may disagree with us on other things. What Donald Trump understands here that I think the Ted Cruzes and the ones who are very steadfast in supporting us getting involved in the conflict miss is an agreement is really the only way we can ensure Iran stops developing their nuclear program. We can bomb whatever we want to smithereens, but they can set up shop elsewhere. We can sanction them into obscurity, but all that does is harm the 90 million people who live there and allow an anti-American sentiment to grow. So even if we do attempt a regime change, if it's not done properly, we just allow a new Islamic extremist government who hates America and has the same ambitions to destroy us to come to power. This is why Trump is a peace president. He fundamentally understands business. You can apply pressure by bombing things, but you can't fundamentally guarantee you will get what you want by bombing things. And while one of the talking points of the side that's saying, let's go to war, the Iranian people are waiting to rebel and rise up, well, maybe they should watch this clip coming from CNN showing massive protests in the capital of Iran where they are chanting, "Death to America."
Massive crowds have turned out here in central Tehran to protest against Israel's strikes against Iran, but also against the policies of the Trump administration as well. Many of them were chanting "Death to America," were chanting "Death to Israel." We saw them burn American flags and burn Israeli flags.
You will punch the United States and Israel in the mouth, he says. Trump, you are threatening my leader, this woman says. Don't you know my nation believes death is sweeter than honey?
So while they're moving pieces on the chessboard and assuming that the population of Iran is in complete support of what Israel and the United States are doing, and that they're going to be eagerly, happily ready for a regime change and to ingratiate into the global markets, accept Western culture. The reality is that might not be true. There are certainly a lot of people in Iran that agree with Islamic fundamentalism. And while it may not be the majority, it's certainly enough to where if we take out their leader, A civil war could break out in Iran. The point is, there are so many factors, so many details to take into consideration. We shouldn't scold or attack people who come to different conclusions about what they think we should do. I can see how America first to some people means, nope, we're not getting involved under any circumstances, not our problem. But I can also understand how America first to some people means a rogue terrorist state cannot get access to a nuclear bomb because they fundamentally just want to destroy America. They're telling you what they will do if they achieve this. And allowing that to happen, sitting back and doing nothing, is not America first either. And my whole point is to remind people not to see the way the left completely took control of the culture, took control of ideology, decreed what is wrong think, what is acceptable, and replicate that strategy as what we should be doing. Another detail that makes this situation complicated and murky is that Chinese planes have been spotted landing in Iran. Take a look.
But China's intentions, as usual, aren't really so clear here, especially given the mystery transport flights that last week occurred. Several Boeing 747s were spotted leaving China for Iran, and their exact flight routes were kind of mysterious there. One thing we want to mention is Fox News has just confirmed that the FBI is increasing surveillance of Iranian-backed potential operatives here in the U.S. So there is something happening on the domestic front as well to avoid conflict in the Middle East. The president right now is still scheduled to attend the NATO summit that will be taking place next week in the Netherlands, guys.
Yeah, that's significant news there, Alex. Yeah. You know, the administration now boosting the monitoring of possible Iran-backed cells in the U.S. as President Trump awaits his decision.
So we should be happy that we have a president who is analyzing the entire playing field, who has made it clear war and military conflict is not what he wants to do. We should recognize that each decision has 10 different branches that sprout from it, and all of those have 10 more different decisions. This is top-level geopolitics, and we should be thankful that our president isn't hastily rushing into either decision. Part of making America great again means returning to a place where discourse is allowed and encouraged, not the left's philosophy of this is the right way to think, and if you disagree even slightly on one thing, you're a fascist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you're a Nazi. If we become that, then MAGA loses all of its appeal. We will become what they have dubbed the woke right. And I believe in this movement. I believe in Donald Trump. In my last video, I said what I think the proper course of action is, but that's also just my opinion. If Donald Trump chooses something different, I'll assume that with all the information provided to him, he made what he thought was the best decision for America. And I've been showing you a lot of stuff that makes you think, maybe we shouldn't get involved in this war. But the last thing I'm going to show you is something that might make you think, well, maybe we ought to.
Have avoided this conflict had they agreed to a deal that would have prevented them from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon. But they refused to do so, choosing instead to delay and deny. We can no longer ignore that Iran has all that it needs to achieve a nuclear weapon. All it needs is a decision from their supreme leader. That is unacceptable, and this council must urge them to change course.
This is today. They're saying that the UN 15 days after Israeli airstrikes. Has anything changed since the airstrikes?
Now, to summarize my position from the last video where I touched on this, my conclusion was Iran developing a nuclear bomb is not an American problem. Their missiles won't hit America anytime soon, but they could hit Europe, and they most certainly can hit Israel. And the reality I'm forced to admit is that if Iran nukes Israel, the United States is going to full-blown, full-scale war anyway. And if our choice is to send a couple of planes today, drop some bunker busters, or go to war in 5 years and send 100,000 troops that'll likely draw a global conflict, I'm gonna say it's much better to send the 2 planes in. That's my opinion on it, but the point of this video isn't really about what I think. It's not even about what will happen or what won't happen. It's that we can't abandon the idea of healthy debate just because the left doesn't allow it. So when it happens happens over there, it's some sort of civil war, some sort of catastrophe, doesn't mean that's how we also operate. Let's learn from the lessons of the Democrats, who have self-sabotaged themselves into being the most unpopular party in American history. And if we truly want to enjoy the 4 years of Trump and then another 4 or 8 years of MAGA following that, we have to remain a friendly and accepting party to people of all different views, united by the shared goal of making America great again. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.